On the Foo Fighters' 1997 hit Everlong, there's a female vocal harmony that's almost inaudible on the finished track. Today we ask, who sang the backup vocals on Everlong? Before we get going, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. Everlong was one of 3 singles from the Foo Fighters' Color and the Shape album, and both the single and the album sold over 2 million copies each. The song peaked at 2, 3, and 4 on various Billboard charts, and the Foo Fighters still play Everlong at just about every show they play, with it typically being the opener or the closer, which you always want to be one of your huge songs. While working on their second album at Bear Creek Studios in Washington, Grohl started messing around with a riff that he thought was a ripoff of a Sonic Youth song called Schizophrenia. Although, to my ears, they aren't really that close other than sharing a few chords. The band did a little bit of work on the song during that recording session, however, the song wouldn't be finished until they went on Christmas break and Dave was back in Virginia, staying at a friend's house because he was going through a divorce with his then wife, Jennifer Youngblood. And the story goes that Grohl wrote the rest of the song in about 45 minutes while sitting on a sleeping bag on the floor at his friend's house where he was staying. Grohl has said, "The song is about a girl that I had fallen in love with, and is basically about being connected to someone so much that not only do you love them physically and spiritually, but when you sing along with them, you harmonize perfectly." The word choice here is actually perfect because not only is the song about this one particular person, she also sang the harmony for the song, which I think is like the coolest thing ever. So who is this mystery lady? None other than Louise Post from the band Veruic Assault, who you may remember from their hit song Volcano Girls. So this is my favorite part of the story. Dave Grohl was recording the song in LA, and he called up his girlfriend Louise Post at 2 in the morning Chicago time and woke her up from, quote, a deep sleep.
Hello! What? Oh, for God's sake!
To our incredible fortune, she didn't hang up, and she agreed to write and record the harmony part. To do this, they used 2 separate telephones and put a mic near one of them, and she wrote and recorded the harmonies for the song over the phone at 2 in the morning. And so, here it is. This is the isolated drum and vocal track from Everlong, where you can hear Louise Post singing the harmony. So one of my questions I had after hearing this story is, how did they get the vocals to sound anywhere near radio ready after coming through a telephone? And I think the answer really is they didn't. It still sounds kind of harsh. And because of that, her vocal take is really quiet in the mix. And I assume that was out of necessity, just due to the harsh sound of the vocals coming through a telephone. But if you do want to try to pick her voice out on the actual recording, for whatever reason, it's a little bit louder on the second and third choruses as opposed to the first one. And once you know what to listen for, you can kind of pick it out, but it is still very quiet and very hard to hear. But I do wonder, if she had been there in person to record through a nice studio mic, would her part have been louder in the mix? And if so, how does that change how people respond to the song if there are 2 distinguishable singers instead of one? It'd be really cool if they did a version of this together in like a live studio setting, just to hear what it would sound like with both of them singing. But until that happens, I did find this clip from 1997 with Pat Smear singing the harmony part.
Is everything you'd ever feel this real forever? If anything could ever be this good,
I think there's a few things that make this song great. The first is the opening chords. The guitar is in drop D and starts on a D major 7 with an interesting voicing, which sounds great. Next, the drums come in to really drive the beat with a 16th note groove on the hi-hat, and there's also some really cool and really powerful drum fills in the song later as well. Also, fun fact, the drums you hear in the recording is Dave Grohl playing the drums, as Taylor Hawkins hadn't joined the band yet, although Taylor Hawkins does appear in the music video. The next thing I think that makes this song great is that the lyrics and the vocals work beautifully, to convey the sense of longing and all the different emotions that Grohl was going through at the time. And even more importantly, I feel like all of the music supports that same feeling as well. And then finally, I think Everlong has one of the best pre-choruses ever written. It really builds up the power of the song and leads perfectly into the chorus.
When I sing along with you, sing it! It's everything that ever feel this.
And I think that's one of the things that makes it such a powerful song. So I remember the song coming out as a kid, and I remember liking it immediately because it had a different sound to it. It just didn't sound like anything else that was on the radio at the time. Everlong is one of Foo Fighters' most popular songs. They still play it at almost every one of their shows today. But Taylor Hawkins had this to say about the song.
You know, the funny thing about Everlong and about people consider that like our biggest sort of hit. But at the time, it really wasn't that big of a hit. Everlong wasn't a huge hit at first. It's something that took years to build up the kind of the steam that now has become the great Everlong, you know?
The song was also featured in the following video games, with Rock Band 2 being the reason that we have the isolated drum and vocal tracks because it exists in the game files. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this moment in music, and if you did, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And of course, thank you for watching.